So there is a woman that we're talking to right now. She is currently on Zoom with us, but she does not want her identity revealed. She's concerned for herself as well as her family, so we are not showing her face. Instead, we're showing this picture here of Caracas, Venezuela, which is where the raid happened. And we are not going to give her name or her age or anything like that because, again, she is concerned for her own safety and the safety of her family. But I do want to bring her in now. Can you hear me? This is Linda.
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And again, thanks so much for joining us. We really, really do appreciate
it's a pleasure.
it. Yeah, thank you. So now, how are you feeling? Did you actually see this whole thing go down in the middle of the night?
Well, I heard 3 detonations at around 2 in the morning. And first I thought that it was fireworks, but then since the floor was shaking and the windows were moving, I realized that it was not. And when I went to go see on my window, I saw like smoke and just a huge cloud of smoke. And that's when I realized that, oh my God, it's actually happening. And that's when people in my family started coming out and being like, oh my God, it's actually happening. It's today. And yes, that's what I got to see. And also I got to hear like a lot of planes and helicopters going around the city. And then it was like so much calmness, but like really tense. And yeah, that's what this kind of like my perspective can be from my house.
Okay.
That day.
So now we actually have some video. Brian, let's go ahead and roll that video. Not the stuff that we got from the U.S. government, but the stuff from people that were actually in Caracas when they were driving in their cars and they were videotaping this, as shooting this from their phones. Now, you just mentioned something that I found very interesting. You said that when you saw this happening, and you can see the explosions going off in the distance, lots of smoke, fire, bombing. And people are recording this on their cell phones. And this is like 2 o'clock in the morning there when this happened. But you had just said that the first thought you had was, wow, this is happening. My family said, wow, this is finally happening. So you knew that the U.S. or you had suspected that U.S. forces would be coming in to detain Maduro. Is that what you're saying?
Well, since news came out, like the President Trump was saying that he wanted to come here and wanted to make something, but I honestly didn't think that it was going to happen because we have been expecting something for so long. So like for something to actually be happening was my first thought because like I was in such disbelief, but my family was more optimistic than I was. So like my family was more like, oh my God, they're here. Oh my God, it's happening. And I was like, oh my God, it's actually happening. Like in a sense of disbelief, and my family was like happy, but we didn't know that they were gonna take Maduro that night. We really had no idea what was happening. Like we didn't know if it was going to be like it was going to upscale or like what was happening actually. So like yeah, my first thought was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys are really happy about this. At least you and your family and the people that you know, you were very happy and thankful for this.
Well, my first thought is like, yes, we're happy that Maduro is not here anymore because it is something that we were like dreaming about for so long. That's why we're going out on the streets for so many years. Like that's what we were looking for. But like we're happy because he's not here, but we are also like really worried about what is going to happen next. So like it's 2 feelings at the same time. Is yes, we're happy this is happening, but it's also like really uncertain what is our next step or like what is the future for us. Because yes, the head is not here anymore, like Maduro is not here anymore, but the whole body is still here. Like
Like the head of the
Rodriguez
snake, the
took-
head of the snake's been cut off, but the rest of the snake's body is still there, meaning all of those
Yeah.
people who have worked with Maduro, they are all still in the country there. So are you saying
Yes,
that a lot
yes.
of people, and again, this is within your world, I mean, you can't speak for every Venezuelan, but you can speak for a lot of people because you were born and raised there, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so you can speak for a lot of people that you know and your family. So is the concern now that some of the same people who worked with Maduro are going to remain there and they're going to be the ones who continue to be in power, and that things aren't really going to change that much for Venezuelans? Is that the concern?
Well, the concern is really what is going to happen, because we do believe that, as Trump said, they're going to take control over Venezuela, but we don't know what that entails, you know? And I don't know. He said that they want to make a smooth transition so we can have a democratic republic, and that is great, but like, what does that entail? Like, what is the smooth transition to them, and how long does it take? And it's somebody going to come here, and meanwhile we still have here Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president, taking control and making announcements that people that are agreeing with the strike that the U.S. made, then they're traitors to Venezuela, and then they're going to be punished and stuff like that. That's what's scary.
Hold
like,
on a
in
second.
between.
I have to interrupt you just for a moment. So the vice president, who is Maduro's vice president, is actually saying to the public, to Venezuelans, that if you support and if you express your vocal support for what the U.S. carried out on that raid, that you are going to be considered traitors and you're going to be punished. She's actually said those words.
It's an announcement that they made to the public. Like, it's a communication that they posted on their social media and their Twitter and all that.
Okay.
That says that if people support what's happened, then they are considered traitors to the republic. And that is a narrative that has been, it's a long narrative that they have been using. Like before, also with the Maria Corina movement, if you supported that, then you're a traitor also to the Venezuelan people and all that, because they like to frame this as an attack to Venezuela and not as an attack to them, because to them it's not they who are doing it something wrong. It's just that the U.S. wants to attack Venezuela. But I don't particularly believe that. I believe that the movement that was made was against the people that are moving the government, you know?
Right.
that
The
make
U.S.
sense?
strike, because the Trump administration has been very clear about this. This U.S. strike was against Maduro and the cartels. It was not against the people of Venezuela.
Yeah, that's what I believe. And like, the government wants to frame this as an attack to us, to the Venezuelan people. And that's why they repeat and on that if you are a supporter to them, like supporter to the strike and all that has happened, then you're a traitor.
So then how are you guys feeling? How are people that you know and that you see in your town every day, how are people dealing with this since Saturday? Because they've got that then hanging over their heads. They're happy about it, but if they express any support for it, they could be arrested and tried as a traitor. So how are people going about their daily lives? And again, it's just Monday, so it's only been about 48 hours, a little more than 48 hours. So how are people living their lives? What's going on?
Well, lately I feel like everybody just has stayed put in their house and like has come to social media to say some things, but not freely. And we are just like on the sidelines watching the Venezuelans that are outside Venezuela celebrating and all that, because we cannot celebrate that here. We cannot go to the streets and celebrate because we will be we don't know what's going to happen to us if we do that. And also people right now are like deleting messages and things on their phones that could say that they support the strike, because sometimes when you go out to the street there are armed civilians that take control and like see your phones and see your messages and like to see if you support the strike, and if you do, then they take you, and if or if not, they ask you for money and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So they're like gangsters. They're basically
Yeah, but
holding you hostage for your phone unless you pay them off.
or yes, and they're we call them here colectivos, that there are people that the government armed so they can support them. So it's civilians, yes, but they're civilians armed by the government, and they're making like their work.
Right. All right. Yeah, they're civilian spies for the government, and they're basically what we would call here in this country rats.
Yes.
Who go out and they try and find people to see if they support or don't support their government, and then they report them back to the government.
Yes.
So today is Monday. Did people go to work today? What was happening in Caracas?
Yes, people did go to work, but I believe that normal activity was cut until like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. at most, and then people were to their house. And I believe that that's like a silent agreement that we all came because we don't want to be on the streets late at night. And yes, people did go to work, and majority of the people that have gone out to the street have gone to the market or supermarket to have food.
I'm sorry, what did you say about the supermarkets and the food? Do you have food in the supermarkets?
No, we do have food, but people, like, if people go out of their house, is to go to the supermarket and get food.
Okay.
And that's it.
So it's just going out for the necessities. That's it. Nobody's hanging out.
Yes.
Nobody's going out to restaurants. Nobody's going over to a friend's house, to a party. Nothing like that. People are getting up. They're going to work if they need gas, if they need food from the grocery store, and that's it. And then they're coming home because they don't want to be on the streets at night. Is that right?
Yes, in my social circle, yes.
And what about with your family? The same thing?
Yes. We have been stayed at home since Saturday, and the only people that have gone out are the people that have to work. So, yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And so many Americans, I mean, thank God for America that we have never lived through those type of situations. And most Americans have no idea what it's like to live in Venezuela and other countries like Cuba, other areas in the Middle East, with regimes, dictatorships, where you don't have your own life. We are allowed to go out on the street and say basically whatever we want to say, without being rounded up and thrown in prison and having our civic rights taken away from us. In Venezuela, do me a favor, talk so the average person here in America understands what it has been like for you and your family and your friends to live under the rule of Nicolás Maduro. Talk to me about a typical day, the type of fear that you have, what you are not allowed to do. Can you explain some of that so the average American citizen understands what you folks really are living with every day?
Sure. I can. Well, I feel like since the start of Maduro's dictatorship, basically, because I don't believe that he's ever was a president. Mm-hmm. At first, things at 2013 were really hard because food was scarce. I don't know if that is
scarce,
correct,
but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and oil was really hard to find. We didn't have electricity most of the time, and all that. But lately, things have been getting better. But I don't mean to say that we are happy. It's not that. It's just I feel like Venezuelans lately have learned to live through the dictatorship. If from the outside you feel like we are living happy lives and all that, I think that that's because we learned to live through that, you know, because
Well, it becomes what
at
you
fir-
know. It becomes what
Yeah,
you know, and
it's
when
all
you're
that we
living with
know.
it year after year after year after year, then it becomes the norm, even though you know it's not normal.
Yes, yes, so totally. And um, we, like, in a sense of like, I don't believe that I can go out in the street and say whatever I think. Like, I don't support this government. I don't support anything that's happening, but I don't feel the freedom to go out and say that. And I not only fear for myself, but also fear for what I can do that can affect the people around me. And also, you hear a lot of stories. Like, you hear a friend of a friend was taken because they stopped his car and they just wanted to get some money and he didn't have some, and they took him to prison and torture him and stuff like that. It's just, personally, I haven't lived that, but I do know people that have, and that's what's scary. Like, the possibility that could happen to me or like to people in my house.
Right, right.
And yeah, I want to like make clear that we have been suffering in Venezuela before the sanctions. Like, people like to think that things here have been bad since the sanctions, but that's not true. I believe that we have been suffering before that. Like, before that, we didn't have electricity. Before that, we didn't have food. Before that, oil was scarce. Like, things have gone worse since the sanctions, yes, but it's just worse for something worse. I don't know how to say that.
It's
but yeah.
always. Are you trying to say that it's always been bad? It just got even worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you talk
And-
about not having food and not having electricity, talk to me like you would talk to one of your friends about it. Like, what is the food situation there like on a daily basis? Do you go to the grocery store and half the shelves are empty? Are you unable to get bread for days or milk? Or talk to me about what that's really like, because for you folks, it has become the norm. Here in America, we don't know what that is.
Yes. I can tell you, like, years prior, it has been worse. But right now, we do go to the supermarket and food is available, but prices is, I think the worry right now is like the price of stuff, because things with the, like, prices have gone up, and the thing is, like, we do have food, but it's with the minimum salary is like
You can't afford to buy
difficult
anything.
to pay for them, or like it's every reality is different. And like, in my house, I do have the grace to say that I do have food and all that, but there was a time that I didn't have food. There was a time that I could not find eggs, I could not find bread, but that was like in 2017, 13. Right now, it's like better, but also I do know of people that don't have food. So like, that's the situation like with food right now.
And what about electricity? What is that? Talk to
Oh.
me about that, having access to
Oh, yeah.
electricity.
Electricity, well, it's like a never-ending trouble here, because since Saturday, I can tell you, I have a friend that lives in an area that was much closer to the bombings and all that, and he didn't have electricity since 2 in the morning, like when the first detonation started, and then he got electricity back 28 hours after.
Okay.
Like, he spent the whole day without electricity, and I have another friend that got electricity 48 hours after.
Okay, now you're
So-
talking about them not having electricity because of the U.S. raid that was carried out in Caracas on Saturday, correct? That's what you're talking about?
Well, yes, right, like this
Okay.
weekend right now. But
Oh.
before, we do have problems with electricity. I have friends that can spend 2 or 3 days without electricity, or like a whole day without electricity. But I think the problem is worst in the rural parts of the country.
So, and this has been an ongoing problem in Venezuela because you're talking about the food, like back in, you keep going back to 2013, like to 2017. You said those years were really bad, that food was not easily accessible. Now, food is pretty much accessible, but because people are not making enough money to afford the food, they can't afford to buy the food, correct?
Yes, some people, yes.
Some people, okay. Would you say the majority of people, or just maybe say 25% of the population? And again, of the people that you know and that you see where you live.
I couldn't talk to you in percentages because I don't know how to like I would say people like in the more rural parts of Venezuela, and also people that live in slums have trouble affording food and all that. And also another problem that we do have daily that I can talk about, it's water. I don't have running water in my house from Wednesday to like Saturday.
Wait a minute, from last Wednesday to Saturday, you haven't had running water. Is that right?
No, that's yearly. That's the whole year. Yes.
Like that's all the time. That's every week.
Yeah.
There are
that's all the
4
time.
days a week that you don't have running water.
Yes. And we have to live through a tank that we have in our house that we fill up, and then that's the water that we use throughout the week.
So if you don't have running water, what about your toilet? Do you have working toilets and showers in your home?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Yes, we do. And those work with the tank that we have in our house. But yeah, well, like I have running water, like 24 hours from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then out until the next Monday, we don't have water, running water.
You don't have the running water, but you do have the tanks. And do you stock up on the water from the tanks on the days that you don't have the running water so that you at least have it there? Is that how it works?
Yes.
And is that the norm? Is that what it is for most people?
I can say that that's normal. Yes, that has been normal for us in like, I don't know how many years, like honestly, really long, really long.
Well, give me an idea of how many years. Has that been going on for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years?
No, since 2015, 16.
So about 10 years, going on 11 years. That's what what the norm has been.
Yes.
See, you know, like for the average American, they have no idea. Like we don't deal with this here. You know, there are impoverished areas, of course, of this country, and we could do better in a lot of different ways. But U.S. citizens don't know what you're talking about. They haven't lived what you're talking about. You know, year after year after year after year after year, and living under a dictatorship, and that's your norm now. So what are you hoping happens at this stage? Because Maduro's here, you know, the U.S. government has him. He's more than likely going to be tried in a U.S. federal court, and may end up like others that have been brought here to this country. They are tried and convicted, and they spend the rest of their lives in prison. What are you and your family and your friends, what are you hoping for at this point? What do you want to see happen?
Well, I hope that justice happens. And all that I can think about right now, watching what's happening with Maduro and all that, is remembering all those years that I went out on the streets and protested that something happened, and this is happening right now. But I'm also really, I don't want to say scared, but like in the unsure about what is going to happen with the rest of them, because like, yes, you got Maduro, but I still think about Diosdado, I still think about Delcy Rodriguez, I still think about Padrino Lopez, like people that still are here and still have power. So like,
right.
I hope that yes, we can do have a smooth transition to democracy and live a democracy for the first time. And I want to feel like my normal now is really abnormal in a few years. Like, I cannot believe that I lived like that. That's what I want.
That's what you want to happen. You want to have what most people would consider to be just a normal life. You want to be able to say
Yes.
what you want to say. You want to be able to have access to running water and food and electricity and go to work and come home and have a dinner with your family and hang out with your friends and do what most people in this country do, you know, in the United States of America. That's what you would really like to see happen.
Yes. I want to feel like I can work to have a future, because like for a really long part of my life, I feel like I'm stuck in, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what will happen here, or what can I do to make it better, or things like that. I want to feel like I have a future that is not a dictatorship, or like a future that it's brighter than what I thought before.
Would you say that most Venezuelans, and again, you're not speaking for the entire country, I'm talking to you now about the people that are in your life and people that you see where you live. Do they want the United States government to be involved in the transition of power to a democracy? Because you're saying that's what Venezuelans want. They want a democracy. Do they want the U.S. government to be involved with that? Or what are they thinking as far as how you get to that transition and ultimately who is in control?
Well, I don't think that, like, I do believe that we are grateful for what happened with Maduro, and we are uncertain of what is going to happen next. Do we want the U.S. has like a control here? I don't know. Like, I don't know what that entails. So like, yes, they said that they want to take control over Venezuela. They're going to control Venezuela until there's a smooth transition. But I really don't know what that means. And that's what's scary. That's what I don't know how to answer, because I cannot fathom like what is that. And
you don't know what that
are,
looks like. In fact, none of
No.
us know what that looks like, because we're not getting specifics about what the Trump administration means when it says that. And so that is a concern that you have. You want to know what this is going to ultimately look like. What does that mean, the U.S. is going to have control? How long is that going
Yes.
to take? How long is that going to happen? And then what happens after that? Is the U.S. government going to help with a transition so that the U.S. can transition out of Venezuela, and then we have our own autonomy again, and we have, you know, Venezuelans who are in control, who are not corrupt? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yes, because like the system is really rotten. Like the whole Venezuelan system is rotten. Like taking out, like we've said before, like taking out the head still leaves the body. So like there's still left the vice president, all the people that I have mentioned before, but also the justice system, the assembly, the military, like the military, the police, all that there is people that do still have power, and I don't know how the U.S. can help with that, because they can help with a smooth transition, and that could happen. But like, there's still like a lot of work for me and for my family and for all of the people around me to say that we have lived freely, or like we can be happy for like what's happening, because there's still so much work to be done. And it's really like uncertain. That's my word right now, is like uncertainty.
Yeah, I understand that, because when you talk about having the local police, and then if you have any, you know, national police, you talk about your justice system, the judges, and then you talk about the government officials, and you talk about the military. And if you have people, and obviously it exists in all those levels, who are closely aligned with Maduro or think like Maduro in some way, and they're just waiting until they can get in power and they can get in control, and they're just going to become the next dictator. And then that really doesn't help the Venezuelan people. It doesn't really get you, it does not get you to a democracy where it's freely free elections and where Venezuelans are actually electing who it is that they want to lead them. So it's a very complicated process. So that is a concern, right?
Yes, yes. And we did have an election. We had an election in 2024 where we had a president elected, where we had things that we wanted to make happen. But as we all know, that did not happen. But that's not the first election that they robbed. And it's a work. So like we do want a change, and I know that this change is not going to be right now, and this change is not going to be like next year. It's a change that it's really long, because it's a process that it's going to take a long time. It's not just to take out the head. It's not just to take out this people that are rotten and all that. It's really difficult, and it's really like in the mindset of the Venezuelan people. So like we do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it is going to be a very lengthy process, you know, and I want to remind our viewers who are watching us now, this is a live Zoom interview with a woman who is in Caracas, Venezuela, and she has agreed to speak with us, and she could see the U.S. military raid that was carried out. I mean, it was an impressive U.S. military raid carried out in the early morning hours of Saturday. There you see the bombing, and you see the explosions, the fires, the smoke emanating from the area. And she is one of many people in Venezuela who could see this off in the distance. And so they kind of figured that something was going on, that the U.S. was carrying out some type of an attack on Nicolás Maduro, the dictator, who continues to call himself the president. And his wife continues to call herself the First Lady of Venezuela, even though they are now in U.S. custody. And they were in a federal court house here in Lower Manhattan earlier today. But the young woman that we're speaking with does not want us to give her name or show her face. That's why we have that picture up there, and it says anonymous. And it's a picture of Caracas, Venezuela, and that's where Maduro was. And so that's why the picture is up there, because she does have a concern, safety concerns, not just for herself, but also for her family and her friends and anybody else that she might come into contact with. But we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight. Is there anything that you would want to share with us that I haven't asked you?
Sorry, can you repeat? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Is there anything that you would, because I've been asking you a lot of questions now for the past 40 minutes, is there anything that I have not asked you that you would like to share with us?
Well, I feel like I've said a lot of things that I really wanted to say. First of all, that yes, we're happy that Maduro is not here, but we're concerned about what's next. We're concerned about our future. Apparently, right now, like Venezuela is like a constant surprise all the time. Like right now, I'm getting information that our people are like, things are happening in the center of the city. I cannot say what's happening because I don't know, but just this scary thought of like, it's never ending and we don't know what is next. We do hope that the things that happened this last weekend come to a greater future for us.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know what
Venezuelans want a better life, and they're hoping that that is what's going to happen, because it has not been good.
And we deserve it.
Yes.
We deserve a better life. We have been working for a future, for a change since 2000, like 2001. I've been going out in the street for more than 10 years. Like, this is what I like. This is the change that has made me believe that we can have a difference, we can have a future. And yes, we do hope that things start to change and things like come to a greater
That it's something
like
better for
finale
you.
for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you just said there that you went out on the streets for 10 years, what did you mean by that? Did you go out and protest and demonstrate for 10 years, off and on?
Yes, like, well, the opposition has had a protest for like a long time, like since like 2000, 2001, 2004, 2013, 2017, 2018. And I have been going out for a long time, and I've seen people like lose their lives for a change here in Venezuela. Like, there have been a lot of young people that died in protest. And what I think when I want the future of Venezuela is for their death to not be in vain. Like, I want to think that they died for a reason, and they died because this was going to happen. And I stopped believing that something was going to happen a long time ago, but right now I do see a future and a change that is forming for us.
When you say that you saw people lose their lives, how did they lose their lives? What happened?
Well, the military here went against our people. Like, most of the protests that we have here as the opposition is peaceful. So a lot of people go out in the street, and then the oppression starts, like with tanks of water or
From the military?
bullets, like rubber bullets. Yeah, from the military. Rubber bullets, or like bombs, like with gas that, I don't know how to say that in English, but yeah, it's a gas that makes your eyes water and you cannot breathe.
Yes.
And
Tear
people
gas.
lose. Yes, tear gas. Thank you. But yeah, what I mean when I say that I saw people lose their life is when I went out on the protest, I did see people fall and people being taken, and I passed through bodies and things. Like, it's really, it's not a pretty image to have. And that's why I mean that when I see what's happening to Maduro, when I see what it's going to happen to the rest of them, I only think of them. I only think of the people that lost their lives, and all of them were really young, like teenagers, early 20s, like people that wanted a future for us, like people that wanted something different, and they lost their lives for it. That's who I think right now.
Right. Well, I mean, we hope that things do get better for the people of Venezuela. Again, the Trump administration saying that this is not a strike against the people of Venezuela, but against Maduro and the drug traffickers. But again, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us and to be as open and honest with us as you have been. So thank you very much. God bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Take good care.